This is definitely gonna be fun. We're back. It was a little bit of, should we do this, should we not do this, but we came to the conclusion that we definitely need to do this. And the reason why this podcast is going to be fun is because we're both native speakers, right? And even though we're native speakers raised in the US, I think has a lot of influence of how much of our memory sometimes we have with certain things with the language. But the idea here is so people can understand that even us as native speakers, when you're trying to bring another language in to translate, it's always hard. And this makes me think about the last episode we had when Brandon and Joelson were talking, where Brandon was born in the U.S., raised in the U.S. That's where he learned Creole. Where whereas Joelson was just here in Cavite, and he never thought about Creole. Like people ask him questions, he's like, I've never thought about what that word means or what this expression means because it's so natural to him. So this is what we're going to talk about today and what it means even as a native speakers, that we run into some words that we're like, what? How do we translate this? Or even our experiences growing up are different, different for that. So welcome to one more Kriolu podcast. Edmar, nice to have you back.
Yes, thank you thanks for inviting me back to my own podcast. I've been looking forward to this for a long time.
I know they probably missed us. So we're gonna kick off with a few words that we received as translations, and we put them out there on social media, and they turned out to be some very interesting, engaging conversations. But the first one, actually, the conversation started offline, off social media. The word is candy. When we were getting ready to post candy on social media, Edmar and I had a whole discussion of what the translation should be. For me, candy meant drops, period. And that's an English connection word over there, but it's drops. There was no alternative to this, where Edmar had a whole different understanding of how to translate candy, right?
Maybe I don't know. Could it be a generational thing? Not that we're like.
It could. I mean, we're not that far out.
But you
yes,
say
it could
so.
be.
So when you said candy, the first thing that came across my mind was fatiata. But fatiata, I guess, is like, I don't know, junk food in general. I don't know. I've always looked at like chocolate and the stuff that ruins your teeth and just looked at it as fatiata, not drops. Drops is a kind of fatiata in my mind, but okay.
And then it's another word that's like, how do you even translate fatiata to English though?
Yeah,
because then it brings
junk
the
food.
other issue.
It would be junk
Yeah,
food.
if you think fatiata, you think junk food. But if I think candy, I should not be thinking fatiata. You see what I'm saying? So for you, candy is fatiata, right? But when you're thinking if you're thinking from Creole to English, you translate it.
I think so. Candy to you is not junk food.
I don't see it as not in the translation sense.
Oh
my
gosh.
It can be. Okay, it can be, but I did not see it. So when if somebody tells me right away, how do you translate candy into Creole? I'm going to be like, it's drops. Because it's a collection of gum, lollipops, all of that stuff, which can be a family of junk food. But junk food for me, it's already, let me tell you, junk food for me is, when I think about junk food, which is, to me, I think fatiata, is the stuff that we would get, the ladies that sold at the doorsteps of our school. I don't know if you still had that when you were growing up in Cavite.
Yes.
It's the ladies who brought us like the bread with all sorts of things in it, frita, like all these fried things. That's what I think of fatiata, because we would be like, no ba compra fatiata, like let's go buy junk food, and that's what we were talking about, like fried food, all of these things that were not healthy. So that's why I associate fatiata as junk food, and then where from a U.S. context is like chips and these, little tiny juices that you would have. But I don't think of fatiata coming from the definition for candy. That's why it's
Okay.
like, for me, candy means drops.
And me, in my mind, anything that will earn you a visit to the doctor's
to,
office,
to the dentist, yeah.
especially the dentist, falls under the category of junk food, which to me is translated to fatiata in Kriolu, which means candy is in there. It's in that category.
Yes, and it's one of the most popular, discussions we had. 26 comments back and forth on Instagram about what it's supposed to be. Somebody dropped and said it's khubsat. So somebody went very specific, which is a type of candy,
Yes.
right? Like we do eat
And rupsat, and hold
yes.
on. I have broken teeth chewing on rupsat. So rupsat
On
is like
khubsat.
the worst
It's not
kind.
candy.
Yes, rupsat is like the worst kind of fatiata. But I was very stubborn about it, and I've broken pieces of teeth as a kid eating that thing. It's really good though. You should try it. Risk breaking your teeth, but it's worth it. I
Yes,
think.
Hupsat it's like Barlavento would say Hupsat a lot. Like most of the islands would say that. So it's interesting that somebody actually literally said Hupsat for their translation of candy to Creole. We did have a lot of drops though. Like if we were to go down the social media, okay,
Oh God.
drops beat most people
Yes, but
I mean,
most
beat
people
all
are
of
wrong.
this.
Meaning most people are
Look.
wrong. Like people, you need to look. This is why we do what we do, okay? Because people need to learn Kriolu the proper way. It's fatiata.
And look, your Creole speakers are saying drops and we beat Fatiata to it. But either way, you can use either one. Your message will get across. You'll get there. You'll get across.
Yes,
You'll get across.
that is true. That is true. One way or another, the message will definitely get across.
We'll get across. The next word, which is this one was, there's a different kind of fun because it was the word baking powder, and when we
Yeah.
when we released it came from your the one that we do, the translation Thursdays.
The
right?
first
So
one,
you-
the first
yeah,
translation I did was
did the
yeah.
translation Thursdays, went out and I'm looking at some stuff. I was like, let me put out some words for translation Thursday. And then I looked at baking powder and I was like, oh, this is such a good one, because I knew this was going to generate a conversation, because even though it's an English word that we're trying to translate to Creole, we basically Creolified, if you can say that, an English word, which is, in Sal we say baking powder. And then when we
Oh
put it
my
out there,
God.
it went into a whole stuff. But of course, before it went out, Edmar and I had another moment.
Yes, because
Please
me-
share with them what you wanted to put out there,
So-
and my mom had to come in to rescue us.
I know that was very close. That was a close one. So these are our translations that we send every Thursday to people in our email list. So if you get a chance to subscribe, that would be amazing. So you can join these discussions and conversations. But yeah, one of the newsletters that we sent out had baking powder listed there, and my translation for it, because this is how I grew up hearing it, was farinha de bolo. Farinha de bolo. Farinha de bolo, bol is cake. Farinha is powder. So it's like cake powder. So to me, that makes sense. Baking powder, cake powder, same thing. Farinha de bolo. There you go.
Oh, God.
Why is that not right?
It's clearly that you were not in the kitchen with your mom or your grandmother, or if you or any of those people who were in the kitchen.
Wow.
I grew up
Okay.
hearing baking powder from my grandmother in particular. So when I saw that, I was like, Edmar, are you sure about this? I was like, let's triple check our sources. Because I have a feeling this is not what it's called, because I called it baking powder. So I ran this by my mom. My mom said in Creole, Fla Edmar, pacha de inventa. In translation, my mom
my
sent him a
God.
message and said, tell Edmar to stop inventing things. That is not how you
Oh
say
my God. You see,
baking powder.
I'm just trying to teach people something. I'm just
And
trying to
that
teach
was
people something. You know what I mean?
that
This is
was
the
too
heat that
funny.
I'm getting.
I was like, Mom, I was like, I will make sure to pass on the message. So we, yes, came to the conclusion that baking powder was baking powder, and people from South and probably most of the Northern Islands say baking powder.
Oh my
And
god.
then we also brought it to our WhatsApp chat, WhatsApp community, which is another one. Please do join that one because we have some interesting
Mm-hmm.
conversations there. So in the
Yep.
WhatsApp community, we have a lot of folks from Fogo who are in there, and they said Becky.
That's it.
And my husband also has said Becky. I said Becky. When he told me, I'm looking at him like he has 5 heads. But then I was
If
like,
I
it's
hear
definitely.
that, well, if I hear that, first question is gonna be who's Becky? That's gonna be my question.
That's your
So
very
they
American question.
they simplify they just removed the pod part and just said Becky. That's it.
Becky. That's it. That's
Wow.
it. So
Wow.
so yeah. So so Fogo they use a lot. They say Becky, and that was very fun to actually hear folks from Fogo saying that, yeah, we say Becky. And I think also Santiago, because my husband speaks Kriolu from Santiago, so he also said Becky, even though his mom is from Fogo, so we might be like that's where he heard it from. But yeah, so Becky was, I never would have guessed Becky if somebody, like you said, if somebody would have told me that, especially if I'm in the English mindset. I'm like, I would have asked, who's Becky? I think I would have been in that same line of
Of course you would.
who's Becky.
You go find
But it
Becky in the
was,
kitchen, please.
yes.
Go
So
get me
that
some
was
Becky from
interesting
the
to
store.
hear. And that's the thing. You go to the store, you probably won't be able to get something other than that. And I'm just gonna throw in a word real quick. That's not even one that we wanted to talk about. Now that I said store, and I pictured myself going to
Oh,
a store in Fogo
that's a good
when I
one.
first had my daughter. When I first had my daughter, I went to Fogo on a work trip, and I was like, okay, Fogo, you all have everything with these, how do you say, diapers from United States. I went to the store, and I asked for fralda, which is my definition of diaper in Creole. Asked for fralda in every store possible. Nobody knew what I was talking about until I saw it, and I
No
pointed to the
way.
store, and they say, "Oh, diaper."
Oh no.
I had this conversation with in Swahili in our chat in our podcast episode. Yes, that happened to me in Fogo. I went to like, I don't know, three, four, five stores.
Wow.
Nobody else like, how do we not have, diapers here? Everything, the bidons come from the United States, and I was trying to get some American
Yeah.
diapers. And then at some point, I was like, I'm going back to the store, and I looked, and I saw it high up, and I pointed, and I said that, and the lady goes, "Oh, diaper." And I was
Oh
like,
my god.
oh my God. So in Fogo, right here in Cape Verde, they do not say fralda, they say diaper. So that's a whole other conversation of, if somebody's going to Fogo and is trying to learn, the language, they got to get a piece of United States because that's what they call it.
That
They
is
don't call it fralda,
unbelievable.
they call it diaper. Yes,
But I mean,
diaper.
the thing that I like about instances like these is it says a lot about the people's way of life, and which I think
Yes.
mostly expressions that's what they do. But every now and again, you have these words, these foreign words that sort of get injected into our vocabulary, and it's because of the history of migration that of people from Fogo to the United States and back. So
Yes.
that is clearly a very clear example of how these foreign words start finding their way into our vocabulary because of migration.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And we've had in like even before that in other islands, which we'll get to in a couple of words for in terms of expressions and not necessarily words. But yeah, that was probably one of the most interesting experience I had in Cape Verde with the word. Look, me trying to be very Cabo Verdean, and somebody's like, "No, it's diaper."
That is
um,
that's amazing. And how would you
another
spell it in
interesting.
Kriolu?
I, they probably will spell it
Daipa. That's it.
probably yes.
Keep it simple.
No, not even. I would. Yes, that's a good question. I want to see somebody spell that. That's a very. Maybe we should put that as a next word just to see
Yep.
what
Yep.
how we gonna get Fogo folks, especially from the U.S., reacted to how do you say diapers in Creole. Check. That's going to be one I'm going to put up. So the next word that was very interesting for us, this one we did not have an internal discussion before, and it just went straight out, is United States. So the formal translation, right? Because we also, we triple check stuff. And I think you even checked Manuel Gonçalves' dictionary on this one to make sure we were good. So the official technical translation is Estados Unidos, right? But for cultural context, we do not say, for instance, you don't say, if you're translating, I'm going to United States, you don't say, tabai para Estados Unidos. You never say that. In Creole, you would say, tabai para America.
Yep.
I didn't think people were going to pick up on it so quick, but they did. Like, even on LinkedIn, we had a few folks having a really good conversation on LinkedIn and Instagram and Facebook about how do you translate United States into Creole. And Merca beat to it. Everybody was like, nah, we all say Merca. We don't say Estados Unidos. And that's also, then you have to think about, even in a more formal setting, yes. But on a day-to-day Criollo, nobody uses Estados Unidos.
Yeah, but even then, Estados Unidos is a very Portuguese-ish way of saying it,
Yes.
And we Criollos, I think a lot of us, especially when we started doing this work at Criolish, we started seeing how much quote-unquote interference there is from the Portuguese language into Criollo. And this is one of those cases where, nobody out here in these streets would say Estados Unidos. We would say Marca.
Yes.
And Marca is a direct translation of America, right? And there are many people around the world that refer to the United States by America. So we do the same, but in our way. We just go Merca.
Yes.
Merka. That's it. Simple.
That's it. Yeah. And it feels weird to say Estados Unidos. Like, I don't remember the last time.
Exactly.
I even said that.
That's what I'm saying. It's because it's like you're pushing Portuguese here.
Yeah.
Right? If it's Criollo, you're not gonna say Estados Unidos. You're just gonna say America.
You're just gonna say America. So this is the part where it really matters to understand cultural context. We put it out there as Estados Unidos because that's the in a way the official translation. But when do you really push, or when do you really have, when you're thinking about translation and doing this type of work, that you have to take the cultural context into consideration to say, okay, this one is a much more realistic and better translation for someone who's learning, and then they're communicating. Oh, I came from United States. Bem de America, right? You're not gonna say bem de Estados Unidos. It's very rare. I don't think I've ever, if somebody's saying that, it's because they really learned a formal way. Maybe I would say formal, which is still weird to use the word formal with Creole. But it's not for somebody learning. It's not going to like somebody will probably look at them like, you mean Marca? Oh, because it's America. Like, so you know what I mean. So people will probably look at you weird if you use the word Estados Unidos in speaking Creole to tell someone that you just came from there.
Exactly. And this is actually a debate that we had internally as we were typing the scripts for the courses that we have upcoming, is like we whatever it is that we want to teach people, we want them to learn things that they have a very high likelihood of hearing on the ground. You know what I mean? Because you don't want to teach people to speak in a way that will make the local people feel like they're coming from some, I don't know, universe or whatever. It's like,
who's this?
Is not. It's like we kind of understand what you're saying, but just so you know, we don't talk like that, right? Type of thing. And we don't want people to feel like that. We want you to get there and immediately get yourself immersed in the day-to-day vocab of the islands.
One of my favorite comments on LinkedIn for this one, so Gilson da Costa, he wrote, Merca yesterday, Merca today, and Merca tomorrow.
Love it. Love it.
I was like, this is nice. I was like, exactly. That's like, you can't put it in any other any other way. But that was that was on point. Loved the way that he's like, look, people, we need to stop fooling ourselves. It's mad
Yeah,
called across.
that's a very point blank period
It's never
type
going
of
to change.
statement. Love it. Yep.
Yes, love it. Um, the next one was very simple word country. We didn't talk much about it, but someone left a comment on Instagram. We did not engage as much as we should have on it because we say country is país, right? That's how we translate it. But then somebody put a comment and said terra,
Yeah.
and
Very
I'm
cool.
like, and I sat on that. And I was like, I was supposed to come back to it, and I never did. I'm sorry, my
Person.
friend who made that comment. I think I'm gonna have to look him up, and I think I do know him too, because that is such a deep, deep cultural word, terra.
Yeah, and I think that
And
we
then
made that post.
it has different
Yeah,
meanings too.
because I think we made that post within the context of like sort of like patriotism, and so that yeah, I think it was a post that we made for 9/11, right, where we had that, what is it, like 811 words
Oh, no,
for
no, for the
9/11, something
country
like
is
that.
no. This one was for FIFA World Cup. Like we
Oh,
were getting
right. Okay.
the we were getting a
Exactly. So the
massive
post,
yes,
yes. So the post was made within the context of like, patriotism, pride for the
yes,
country type of thing.
for the
So
country,
in
yes,
our translation was país, and this person said terra, which is, I think, a lot closer to the message that we were trying to send than país, right? Because
yes,
terra, for those who don't know, terra means, the direct translation would be earth or dirt, right?
yeah,
But
earth and
but
dirt, like they
yeah,
have double meaning. It does have double meaning.
but in this context, terra really means homeland. That's
Yes,
that would be the translation. Whereas the ones that we
the,
gave you before, dirt, earth, those are literal translations. But homeland is the translation that carries meaning, which is the challenge with translations, right? You this is
yes,
why people who translate oftentimes, like, if you're going to translate word for word, it might be a little easier. But if you're going to translate, say, a whole document, sometimes the way translators work is they actually read through the whole document just to make sure that they get the whole context before
yes.
they start translating, right? So that they make sure that they're capturing the meaning. So
Yeah,
this
they
is one of
capture the
those
meaning.
one of those cases where having context really dictates the correct translation.
And even like, and this is so interesting because then if you start coupling words, like I'm going home for vacation, like when you tell somebody, oh, I'm going home for the holidays, as in home for you is Cap Verde, right? And then if you translate in
Mm,
Creole, tapa terra.
yep.
But from that home is coming from I'm going to my home country, like if you want to be, all full about it, or I'm going to my home
Yep.
country for the
Yep.
holidays. If you translate that into Creole, the context for it to really have a true meaning, like taba fere pa minha terra. So it's like now, like the word terra, now it also means home country, but it really in the
Mm-hmm.
context of home country, right? So,
Yep.
and for us, anything that if somebody's really is being like deeply rooted in their roots, we say terra terra. Now
Yeah.
we double it up.
Yeah. For emphasis. Yeah.
And then yes, and then if there's a big expression, there's a famous, a popular expression that's more from this generation that says "lique terre," like, and there's you hear it
This
in
is the
music
land.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So and then you can really play a lot with the word of what message you trying to convey with the word terre, in how it can mean different things in the English context. Like if you translating like, hey, terra can mean boom 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 boom, in different contexts. So it's that translation from country to país. Yes, we from that point of view, like you said, the reason why we made the post was because Cape Verde was basically the whole world was now knows about Cape Verde because of World Cup, qualifying for the first time to FIFA World Cup. It was more on that was a probably a better translation for terra. But these are the type of things that are, good conversations to have, and then for
Mm-hmm.
folks to really understand. Okay, when you're learning a language, it's just as important for you to understand cultural context, because you can't
Absolutely.
just learn it face value. Like for me, while as I'm learning Korean still, I'm always looking, like I do a lot of, go back to the research to understand culture and historical context. So certain things can start making sense to me. I have a long way to go that I can, have a conversation. But I'm always thinking about what is the cultural and the history context behind
Yep.
all of this stuff. So
I
it's really
I
important.
think I think that's the best way to learn language, actually, because it allows you to learn the language more intimately, right? Because language is very nuanced, very
Yes.
nuanced, and those nuances are often tied to origins, local circumstances, culture, identity, what have you, history. Everything is carried within this linguistic package, right? And this is, I forget who was it that, I think it was Noam Chomsky, who's actually one of the most renowned linguists and thought leader in the world, who said that language is the main carrier of culture, for example, right?
Hands down.
I-
Period.
yeah, that's why when you're learning a language, don't just learn the language, learn the historical context, the cultural value
Culture.
that it carries, because that's when that language will actually add value to you as a person.
Yes, 100%. Now to wrap up on this with the translation piece, it's before we get to expressions, which is really fun, 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 fun. The word hug. So this is the most recent one I put out there. We all need one all the time,
Especially
sometimes
these
more
days.
these days. But the word, so hug is a word that, I mean, we gave, a translation there that, oh, I'm gonna go back to, feels more formal to me, where I told Edmar a few days ago, and we were up until now we were just talking about this, that I grew up, especially, as a kid, my memory of the word hug is cha, damun cha, like give me a hug. My kids, I use it
uh,
all the time with my kids. Mila loves it. Every time I'm putting her to bed, she was like, damun cha, mama. It is such an endearing thing. So
yeah.
for me, when I hear the word hug, the first word that I think about is cha. And Edmar cannot recall.
So
We're both from
so
Sal, so we need to have a
so
conversation with your mom.
so actually, no. I mean, before we started recording this, it started actually coming back to me. I do remember as a little kid in Sal, parents, uncles, whatever, telling me that damuncha. Uh, so that's why when I first saw that in writing, I was like, "What is Swelly talking about?" But when you actually told me, like when you set the scene for me, I was like, "Okay, I remember this expression damuncha." It mostly happens from like, it's mostly a request
Much
between
younger,
adults and little
and
kids,
kids.
right? You're
Yes.
not gonna. I don't know if you would hear two adults go damu cha, whatever. Maybe that'll happen. That could
They
happen,
probably have
but
to be very probably intimate, or it has to be a very
exactly.
personal one. If it's an adult to adult.
Yeah, that's gonna be awkward. But the thing is, I, when was the last time that you heard that back in the islands? Is this one of those that's like disappearing?
No, but I think it really has to do with, like, so for folks from Sal, like a couple of folks, friends of mine from Sal, they have kids. I hear Carla say it to her kids all the time. So
Hmm.
I think it's like, I mean, and maybe because I haven't been around, little kids so much, like say in Sal. If I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken, and I could be wrong, I think here in Santiago, they say teta as another word for hug, and I could, we'll double check. We'll let y'all know if this is one of those words. But and I think it's the endearing word around it, for this type of stuff, which is really like, from a parent to a child or grandparent, like you said, you start to remember your grandparents asking you to that. It's like, it's a like you really have a love for that person that you're asking for that,
For
damu
cha,
cha.
for some cha.
Yes, for some cha.
We're not
So, and
talking
then,
about tea here. We're talking about a hug.
no, not cha. That's cha.
That's right.
This is cha.
Yep.
So I mean, with the translation that we put out there, for Barlavente, abras, or brasa, which is, and
The
then
verb.
for Sotavento is abraço, right? So those, yes, you hear them more, un abraço, un kojo, or, I haven't seen you in a while, give me a hug, kind of thing. Like you could have those, but cha, yes, it's a very endearing towards kids kind of word. It could be, I have no idea where it came from. Maybe somebody out there knows, but
Will give us
this
the
one,
story.
it doesn't even have like a Portuguese connection. Maybe I don't know if you'll have the African
Maybe
connection
African.
to
Yeah.
languages.
We should
Um,
find out.
we should find out, but it's a very interesting. It's a very interesting word
Damn.
that you use in a particular context for kids,
Yeah.
but not necessarily for from adult to adult. So that was my feeling for it when I saw it, because my daughter asked me for in some Mars too. He asked me for the cha
For some
sometimes
cha.
when he feels when he feels like he needs to be a little bit mimado. How would I translate that into English? To be
Pampered,
cuddled,
which
pampered.
is
There
a
you go.
which is a brand of diaper.
So these words were very interesting to put out there with some engagement, and even for us, like we said earlier, like we really have to take all of the stuff in consideration when we put in them out there, and to really be open to, let's have a discussion, because if you're someone who's here in Cape Verde and you're going from island to island and you're learning Creole, you really have to keep your mind open, because you're gonna learn
Yep.
something in Fogo, and then you get to Sal, and people are gonna look at you like, nope, I don't know what you mean, or we don't use that
Right.
word, we don't in our Creole. So, but it's just to be open that you might be, almost learning a sub language when you go from island to island, because
Right.
you have to add more vocabulary to your Creole learning as as you develop your learning experience with the language.
Yeah. So thank you for saying that, because I think I'm never gonna get tired of telling people that there's no such thing as the correct Creole or the wrong Creole, or the right Creole or the wrong Creole,
Yes.
or whatever. Like you go from one island to the next, and even within an island like Santiago, you go from like one region to the next, and you might hear completely different expressions, completely different ways of speaking. So
Yes.
I think you nailed it on the head when you said when you mentioned keeping an open mind as people learn Criollo, because that is exactly what you're gonna need in your learning journey, is keep your mind super open. And whenever someone goes, gives you that look like, I don't know, that's not Criollo, don't fall for it so quickly, okay? Because even between us, like, this is the beauty of our language. It's so diverse that even between us, we're always gonna be like, are you sure? Like when you said cha, at first I was like, cha and hug? I don't know.
And I could so see your face. I was like, it might have looking at me like I'm crazy right now.
And but yeah, thank you for noting that, because now it's brought very warm memories of my childhood growing up in the islands.
I'm glad.
And-
So make
and
sure you
that's
don't
all.
forget it now. Next time you go to
That's-
Sal, you come to Sal, I should say.
I'm gonna
I'm
be
pretty sure
asking.
even out there in the U.S., if you probably pay attention to folks from the Barlavento Island, you might hear it. Because I have
Yep.
friends from São Vicente who also use it, so it's not just in Sal for sure.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, now whenever I go back, I'm gonna ask my nephew,
attention.
my little nephew, for a
And
chat.
you're gonna see them. They're gonna come to you, and you're gonna be
Yes.
like, ah.
There it is. That's the
Yes.
trick. That's the
Yes.
trick to getting
That's-
this guy
there you
to
go.
listen to me.
There you go.
Cool.
Now
Cool.
you got something. All right. So now this one, and I think I'll let you take lead on this, which is we're gonna go a little bit into expressions.
Yep.
Which is, I mean, the expression is such a, like, even for us as a product, it's something that we put out there. There's a lot that we still have to work on it, and we talk about this all the time, because it's such a tricky thing. From somebody who's learning, how do they utilize the expressions we have on our website? versus somebody who's a native, and we sometimes we can take these things for granted, right? All the time I'm speaking, I use expressions, and sometimes I don't even remember, I don't even realize it. But funny enough, a lot of my friends turn to me, she's like, Swelly, that's a good word for Kriolish. And it's funny, like at work, they tell me that all the time. And they're like, oh, Swelly, I heard an expression today that I think it'll be awesome for Kriolish. So that's a good thing. Now people are thinking about how Kriolish is a place that we should be putting these things, out there. So let's get into expressions. Your favorite one?
This is indeed my favorite. And I've alluded to it a little bit as to why. But, expressions are often referred to as idiomatic expressions, right? These are words, short phrases that carry oral traditions, right? And they're often passed down from generations to generation. And the thing that makes these things so valuable is that they literally tell the story of a people, right? They literally give a lot of context into the way of life of a particular group of people. So before I go into the ones that are carrying that type of value, like this word coitado, I don't know if it's one of those that it's like, is this a translation, is this an expression, right? Is it both? I don't know. So the reason why I'm bringing the word coitado is because of the following. Like every now and again someone asks me, how do you say, like, oh, poor girl, or poor little girl, or poor little boy? How do you say that in Kriolu? And I'm always like I always find myself like, wow, how do I say that in Kriolu? Because there's no way to literally translate that, really, and to keep the meaning. But the way that you would say that is when you look at a little boy, for example, and you want to say, you look at him and you want to express pity, you go, poor little boy. But in Kriolu, all of that is put into one word.
Yes.
And that's coitado, meaning you look at someone and you want to express pity, you go, oh, coitado.
Coitado, yes.
Right?
Coitado.
So, and it's just like, it was just one of those cases where I'm trying to help someone with this translation, and it's like there's no way really to translate this word for word from English to Kriolu. It's like that expression coitado that sums it all up.
But I think that's a good point, that the whole like expression or word, it's like from English to Creole, you'll be able to say, oh, you just say coitado, but then if you say coitado, then it's, you know what I mean? Like, it's not, the translation is not, it feels more like an expression than not a translation. Yes. Exactly. It's so, yeah.
But
expressions is part of the conversation, right? I think,
of course,
what we have to make sure that people don't forget, yes, you have to learn your words, you need vocabulary building, but if you learn expressions, that's a good chunk of your of your speaking experience, because you just, if you use an expression, that's like sometimes a whole full sentence.
Well,
that you're throwing out there.
But it's true. Once you start using expressions, that's when it's like, okay, now you're getting into the weeds of the culture.
The weeds, yes.
Right? Because now it's like you're not just translating, now you're meaning something, right?
Yes.
When you express using these expressions. And coitado is a Sotavento version. The Barlavento version would be coitot. Sometimes you might hear someone say coitada when referring to, because that's the female version of the word. But for the most part, you're gonna hear coitado or coitot. And it's or coitadin, which is
that's a whole other, that's another episode. That's another episode. It's another, we go on the diminutive of the language.
And that's an extra level of pity, I guess. So this is a word, this is an expression that you'll find across any island. Okay, this next one is one of my favorite expressions on the site. Okay, and by that I mean, so for those who may not know, if you go to Kriolu.com, you're going to see that we show both translations and expressions. These are two distinct dictionaries. Translations, you can just look up a word in English and you get the translation to Kriolu. Expressions, it's like the Urban Dictionary of Kriolu, for those who might be familiar with urbandictionary.com. This one is a lot more, again, there's a lot more material to absorb there. So next time you go to Kriolu.com, check out the expressions dictionary, the expressions page, and you'll be able to explore all of these expressions. You can filter by island, whatever. But yeah, the next one, oh man, this one is just one of my favorites. So this one is pior que got nabli. Pior got nabli. Okay. This, if I were to translate it, right? So bli is the type of like bottle that's made of clay, right?
That's what that is?
Yeah, that's
Wait,
what it is.
real
It's like
quick,
that.
let people know this is from Santontão. So
Yes.
that's why I'm like, I will be
exactly.
questioning every word. I'm not familiar.
Exactly.
I've heard the word, not used to using it. So yes, go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah.
I'm learning right now.
I was gonna. That's what I was saying. Because when one of our users added this expression to the site, right? Because people can contribute these expressions. I immediately reached out to my dad because his people are from Santo and this expression is from the island of Santo.
Oh, okay.
So I reached out to him. I was like, "What is bli?" He goes, "Bli is like pot, right? We say pot in Kriolu. So in pot is like the bottle that's made of clay, which you'll find a lot in the island of Santo Antão. And let me tell you, when it stores water, it's like fresh, cold. It blows my mind how refrigerating this type of bottle is. But going back to the expression, pior que roda na bli means worse than a mouse in a bli. Okay, so where does this and under what context is this expression used? This expression is used when you are enduring some type of distress. So, and the example that the person gave, I'm gonna read this in Kriolu and then I'll translate it to English. And this is from Santo Antão, so I'm not very good in the Santo Antão variant, so bear with me. The example is Mar estava muito brop nos barco te queste revra no passa pior grot nibli. So translation, the sea was rough, our boat almost capsized. How do I translate this part? Like whatever it is that we faced was worse than a mouse in a bli. Okay, now what is it about mice getting into bli? Yeah. So this is what happens in Santo Antão is every now and again they find mice that snuck into these bottles. But because of the shape of these bottles, it's almost impossible for the mice to come back out. So there you have it. This is why this expression is one of my favorite. It's because it really tells a story about the way of life of a people where they found like this key event that maybe happens in their daily lives to describe a situation of distress. I mean, it's just mind-blowing. Now, it's just the beauty of language.
This just made me think of one of my favorite. I just looked it up. I was like, oh my God, it's not up on our website. Of course, that would be my fault. My mom used to, I heard my mom say it a few times, so she used it a lot, so it stayed with me. So it's similar to this, in Creole from Sal, is Oya got the plak café.
Oh my God, that one.
So in translation, Oya got the plak café. So Oya means to see. I'm going to do it, word by word. Oya is to see. Got is a cat. The plak café means like
stomping
on coffee beans or coffee. So if you ever see
oh my God,
a cat stomping on a coffee, that means you're going through a very, Very, very rough time. So you
It's
use that
like,
expression like, oh, well, I went, that was such a tough time. I went through, that was crazy. I don't know, it was wild. You would say, Moya got the cafe. Like maybe it's a
oh
place
my
where
God.
if you're on a boat or if you were, hungry somewhere or you were walking with shoes that were hurting and you were like, Moya got the cafe. So that means you got to see something that you should not be seeing.
Yes,
Like if you're seeing something, that means you're illusion. Like something is not right. So it's one of my
exactly.
favorite expressions. Oh, you got the cafe. I need to add that.
Exactly. So, folks, if you see cat stomping on coffee, um,
Something
you
is
know,
not right.
you're probably in the wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong people. Everything is wrong around you.
Everything is wrong about
So
the situation.
please, when you see a cat stomping on coffee, I need you to start moving in the opposite direction immediately.
Remove yourself from that situation.
And this is
Yes,
an
that was
expression
so
from Sal,
wow.
right?
From Sal, yes. Mama, I learned it from Mama. Oya got the cafe. Another
Oh
one that's
my
similar
God.
is Oya boy. That one we grew up
The
saying it
plagafe?
a lot. No, Oya boy. Moya
Oh,
boy.
I was gonna say
Boy.
that sounds a lot worse, but
No,
yeah,
no, I
Moya boy.
mean,
Mm-hmm.
yes. So it's that one is more like our generation use it a lot more
Yeah.
to say. Yeah.
Cool. Cool.
Uh,
All right. So next one is pretty simple. It's kebrat knen jazz. Okay. Like this.
That's a
This
lot. There's a
is
lot behind this.
yeah, but I think it's very easy to translate this because there's a direct translation into another English expression. So this one is
Oh.
interesting, right? Because kebrat knen jazz is the same as broke like Joe.
Oh yes, yes, yes.
Right? So here we have an example of a Kriolu expression that has a direct translation to another English expression, and both carry the same exact meaning. Because
Yes.
kebrat means broke, kinen jaza means broke
Just
like jaza.
like
But in English it would be you wouldn't say jaza, you would say Joe. And
yeah.
when kids hear this, they go, wait, who's Jaza? Right? Like, why are you guys constantly referencing
Who does,
Jaza?
who's this Jazza guy?
He must be the most broke person in the world to get such attention from people who don't probably know him.
But when it comes down to stuff like this in Creole, that it carries throughout the islands and it actually becomes like, at least for the Barlavento Islands, like we use it a lot. There's a story behind this, and we need to go find somebody to tell us who's this Jaza guy because somebody knows who Jaza is. I'm
somebody,
sh- I
somebody.
am sure, and this probably I'm sure it's in a song, and hopefully next year we'll be talking about all of this stuff, expressions in music, and we will have special guests on this one. But this is one
Yes.
of those things that we should definitely go dig a little bit deeper because I am sure Jaza is
There's gotta
someone
be.
in one of these
Yep.
islands, and that's how this came about.
We're gonna find him. We're gonna find him,
We're
people.
gonna and
No,
I'll
let
throw
me
you
tell you this
something.
though. My
Go ahead.
barber in Sal, his name was Jaza. He's a very popular barber in Sal. I don't know if he's still around. He's cut the hair of every child, anybody who grew up in Sal. But he wasn't broke. I think he was doing really well in
So it's
life.
not that Jaza then.
It's not that Jaza. It's got to be someone
A
else.
similar expression in Sal that I grew up hearing is "Você sabe mais que pat Fernando." You know more than the priest Fernando, which means because Caved is Catholics, the priest obviously confessions, right? So if you
Oh
know more
wow,
than the priest, that means you know way too much.
wow.
Of course it's not on the platform because it's one of those expressions that I think about and never put them out there. But yes, so it's context. So você sabe
Honestly,
mais no pat Fernando
I think that if you know more than Priest Fernando,
than a priest
you're probably gonna see
in
cats
everybody's
stomping on
business.
coffee. So be careful, folks.
And
This
this
is
one
not
you
good.
use it like in a sarcastic sense, like if somebody's acting like they don't know what's going on. Oh, I don't know about that. Oh, I've never heard
Sneaky.
it. You turn to them, you be like, aha, você vê mais nenhum pato Fernando. Like, you know way more than you're leading to.
Yeah.
So yes, yes.
Yep.
So
More
it's
than
one of
what you're
those
letting on
very
for sure.
very. It's like history. This is like history connection to islands as well.
Now I want to find Priest Fernando because I have some questions for him about stuff in the country. I wonder he probably has answers. Anyways, all right, next one, Schwinge. So Schwinge is gum. Now, what is really interesting is that in English we say chewing gum.
Chewing gum.
In Kriolu, you will hear people say Schwinge. We think that this is one of those examples where an American word or phrase was like transformed, was like creolized, right? That's the process that we call like English phrases or words that get creolized. So Schwinge, chewing gum, you
Yes.
play with that enough and you'll start seeing the connection there.
The connection there, yes, for sure. And it's one of those that we can also say, because so it's a word, like if somebody asks you how do you say gum in Creole, we would say chewing. But in the US, I mean, even in English, you don't say I want to buy a chewing gum. You just
Yeah.
say gum.
Yep.
A word that's also, that was cut short in a
Yeah.
way, and we just say chewing. So it's interesting to see as if they got separated, but we don't have the gum part of chewing gum. We just got.
And I'm thinking the gum ending up on the gum was pretty much the same process that we see in languages, where you usually simplify things over time. So we're just gonna say gum because usually that's what you're referring to. You're referring to chewing gum. So
and I'm actually
Schwinge.
looking at our social media. We put it out there. How do you say chewing gum in Criollo? It was a very interactive post with like 36 comments, people coming in with different. Somebody wrote gorilla.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
I completely forgot about this. Somebody, of course, gorilla is the brand, the gum. Yes, okay. I can see somebody.
Super
it's just like
popular.
when you say, like, toothpaste, you say Colgate. Like, you don't say go buy, toothpaste at the store. You say go buy Colgate.
But it's like
Oh
an
God.
example that I can find in English is like photocopies or copies of paper. People say Xerox, and Xerox is the brand.
Yes.
But in Cape Verde, the brand that makes chewing gum, Gorilla, is very popular. So I guess that's why this person said Gorilla to refer to chewing gum. That is so cool.
Yes. So you had a few people throwing stuff out there. Interesting.
All right. Next one is one that is it's going to be very interesting. It's also going to go into how people see things and they make some association, and out of it you get an expression. And that expression is kulukutu. Okay? So, Chuck Taylors?
Yes.
The sneakers?
Mm-hmm.
That's kulukutu.
That's
When
kulukutu.
people say kulukutu, that's what they're referring to. Now, how did we end up here? I think you know the story better than me, Swelly.
There's a song called Kulukutu, Kulukutu, Wawa. That's all I know.
Yes. So this song was it's kulukutu, 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 wawa. So this is a very popular song, and I think it's from an artist from Guinea-Bissau, right? I think.
I don't even know.
Somebody
All I
might
know, I grew
wanna.
up singing this stuff. This is like
Somebody
that's a
might
legit
wanna.
question.
Yeah, someone might want to fact check me on that. But I think that the way this happens is that when you watch the video clip of that song, there's people dancing to this song wearing Chuck Taylors. And because of that, because the song was so popular in Cape Verde, every time you look at Chuck Taylor's, people just go, "Oh, kulukutu," so right, because it
Yes.
reminds them of that song. So over time, we started referring to Chuck Taylor by kulukutu. I mean,
Kulukutu.
crazy,
Yes.
crazy, crazy.
Yes. And
Uh,
I don't even remember who sang that song. All I know, I used
Me
to love
neither.
singing it. And if I look it up, I'm gonna write kulukutu kulukutu wawa in order for me to find the song on YouTube.
If you wanna,
We
if you
got
wanna
homework to
double
do.
check, yep,
We have some
go on.
homework to do to figure this out. Yeah, somebody. It's a word that is they put that expression and then they put the shoe, the picture, as on there, so that somebody
Yeah.
can understand why why we say. And we don't. I mean, and then if you ask somebody how do you say shoes in Creole, we say sapot. We don't say
Right.
kulukutu. We're not gonna
Right.
translate as kulukutu, but we understand what kulukutu is.
Yeah,
Yes, so that's
kulukutu is like very specific. Chuck Taylor's.
Very
Awesome.
specific. Yes.
Okay, so this other one is an expression that also describes. That's also a very literal description, and that is spajape. So spajape,
One of my favorites for a very long time.
spajape. The direct translation of spajape is to spread feet. So
Sounds horrible when you translate.
I know it
literally.
sounds so inappropriate, but but that's a little expression. But what that means is when you're going out with your friends and you guys are just going out and about, it's like saying I'm out and about.
I'm out.
You say,
yeah. Let's bounce
Spajape.
and more. Yeah, you get if you tell
Yeah,
somebody let's
no
go, let's
spajape.
bounce. Yep, spajape.
Spajape, exactly.
This word was very popular when I first moved to Cavirs, like in 2009. My younger
Yeah.
cousins, everything to them was like nuspajape, 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 nuspajape. Everything was like
Yeah.
spajape, spajape. And then it got to a point they're like spaja,
And
and then that's it.
just forget the feet. Let's just
Yeah,
spread.
forget that. Nuspaja. And then it became like nuspaja, and that's it. And then I just started doing let's spread.
So that's what we're gonna start doing in English. We're gonna start bringing Creole expressions into English. How about that?
Yes, we should. That
So
would be
whenever
much
you're
fun.
leaving, going somewhere with your people, let's spread. All right, that's
Yeah,
it.
let's spread. Yes, I was doing that a
Awesome.
lot with my cousins. Really, like they enjoyed me doing that kind of stuff. So it's like Lara and Jeanette. They know we were all about Spajape. It was the best. It was
Nice.
the best to be in that generation that's much younger and learning these new urban expressions that I was like, say what? This is not for my
Mhm.
times. But yes, it was fun. It was fun when I was learning it.
All right. One last one for us to wrap up. This one is very special, actually. It's very, very special. You'll hear it in songs, you'll hear it in poetry. And that word is creceu. This is an expression that is just one of the most endearing words shared between
Yes.
lovers, shared between loved ones. And the thing that is amazing about it is that it's a combination of two Kriolu words. The first one is cre, which means to want, and the other one is cheu, which means a lot. So when you're
Yeah.
referring to someone that you love, you refer to them as by crecheu.
And
All right.
for English context, it's I don't even think like babe or baby come close.
I don't think
to.
it rises
It
up.
doesn't.
Nope.
It doesn't. It does not.
Not
nope,
darling.
It does not rise up.
Not darling, not
darling,
my
yes,
love. Yeah, crecheu is
Crecheu
is like
so and it's one of those words that it's been with us forever. Like
Forever.
If you go back
I would
to
say-
Marna,
Yep.
Eugênio Tavares times, and everybody else who has written songs since we're talking about 1800s. Like this word, it's been around for forever and has
very
not.
long.
And it's a word that it's every island uses it. There is no difference.
Which is amazing. Because like
Yes.
this is such a good call out, because every other expression that we just gave you here is either pronounced differently across the different islands, or
It doesn't exist in
they
one
belong
island.
exactly. But Kriolu is the one Cape Verdean expression that is just universal
Universal.
across every island, every flavor and variation of our beautiful language.
Yes.
That in familia too, which funny enough, Kriolu, familia, you would most likely refer to a family member by Kriolu. So
Yes.
these are those two words. Wherever you go, Sal, São Saint, Santiago, Fogo, Brava, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't
You say
matter.
the word Kriolu, everybody gets it.
Everybody knows. Yes, yes, yes.
Awesome.
That's a
So,
good one. That was a good one for us to end on this note. Thank you. I wasn't even thinking about that. So, but by the way, folks, I did not know what expressions Edmar was gonna throw at me. So
yep,
this was nice to just pick it out of pick expressions out of a hat kind of thing and
yep.
then just run with it and see and get our
Awesome.
get our feeling for it. So that was a good one. That's a nice one
Yep.
for us to end this with, which is like unity, right? That's a unity word. That's a word that we all can resonate with. And if you are Cabo Verdean, if you're gonna learn the language, it's definitely an awesome word, and you will hear it in so many songs that are
And
that are important
and
to us.
and it's very appropriate because we're right on the week of Thanksgiving. So when you sit at that table across your family members, that's the word to
Yes,
use, Kriolu.
yes, and you can even use it in this is the only time that the word gets into pieces if you want to go island the island nuances of it. Crep chill, creo
Mm,
chill. It, like now, if you split it in
yeah,
terms of, then that's when you start getting the island feel. Like every island might have that little, but the word just crichil is that
great
one thing
point.
for it. It's universal. But then if you get it into like saying a full sentence or getting more on the expression in full conversation, then you can go into more of the island stuff. But yes, the word, it's definitely love it, love it, love it, love it. So
Awesome.
awesome. Thank you for these. Thank you for uh, joining me on this nice conversation because it's not something that I thought we were gonna do, to be honest, but I'm glad we did. I'm really
Yep.
glad we got into it, and I think we'll have more of these to go into new words. So to our listeners, thank you first of all for listening, sticking with us this whole time, but also, if even if you're not familiar with the language, go, if you're learning it, go check out expression, give us feedback of how you feel about it, especially how you feel in terms of trying to get information from the expression dictionaries. Do provide us feedback because we really take all of these things into consideration. And those of you who are, especially Cabo Verdean Americans, that you still tight with your language, still tight with Creole, go in there, add those expressions. We have loads of them from Santon Town because the guy that came on and just loaded us with some words from Santon Town,
Mm-hmm.
somebody recently added loads from Fogo. We
Mm-hmm.
don't have a lot from we don't have enough from Boa Vista, from Mayo.
Yeah, we need people from
So
Bubisa to contribute. That's
yeah,
right.
Bubista, where y'all at? Cabreres, like they call themselves. Where my Cabreres at?
That's
I know
right.
all of y'all, a bunch of y'all in Rhode Island, New Bedford, Massachusetts. So go in there, add these expressions. This is really important for us. It's really important for our language, and retaining it, preserve it, make sure it never goes away. So remember, the best way to go through it, creolish.com. That's where you can go and find, the dictionaries, translations, and expressions. Follow us on social media so you can engage with these things because, we're going to be doing this more often, bringing this to the podcast conversation. Encourage your family and friends to subscribe to our podcast. If you're listening, that means most likely you already subscribed. So get more people on there so we can have more of these conversations. So thank you for
Yep.
listening. Edmar, thank you for your time. Thank you for these
Yep.
awesome expressions. This was
No,
nice.
thank you.
I really
Thank you
loved it.
thank you for putting this together. Coming into this, I didn't know where we were gonna start, where we were gonna end up, but here we are. This was a good one, and
That's the fun part.
happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy this episode, and we'll come back for more. Have a good one. Ciao, Edmar. Thank you.
Peace.
Peace.